Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Pam, you have a prayer.
Father, we thank you for an opportunity to gather here. Bless each person present. We pray that this meeting is successful, productive, and blessed. Holy Spirit, guide us during our discussions. Give us wisdom concerning the issues that we face. Lord, we give you the glory for what we accomplish. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Clerk, take the roll.
Supervisor Ledke?
Here.
Supervisor Milliburn?
Here.
Supervisor Parker?
Here.
Supervisor Olson?
Here.
Supervisor Searing?
Business is to approve the consent agenda. Entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda. Folks, it's been sitting on here for a while. You've been able to look at it. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Abstaining.
Because there's one in there.
Okay, so I got one abstention. Carol?
I said.
Okay, there's 4 ayes, 1 abstention. Fire Department, October 2024 payroll, direct deposits in the 21,669 to 21,697, fund transfers 21698 to 21699, the amount of $14,296.70. A motion to approve.
So moved.
Your second?
Second it.
Then moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 1 abstention, sorry, 4 and 1. Fire Department, 2021-2023 Vector Solutions Online Training Payroll, Direct Deposits, 21700 to 21723, and checks 41865 to 41870 in the amount of $2,133.59.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Abstain.
1 abstention, 4 ayes. That's approved. Approval of the agenda.
I just want to add the project back there, and update with the well and the warming house reuse building.
We're going to put it 7A under the Parks Commission report. Looks like a good place to toss it in before we go to the fire department. Recycle. Anything else?
So when we approve the,
Did we add 7B under that? Just maybe it's part of it, but just to get Menard's accounts access, because that's going to be part of this discussion.
Well, if it's going to be in there, just leave it up to recycle. We'll put it in the same thing. We'll just keep it in one.
when we talked about streaming and we adopted the new policy here a month or so ago, one thing that we had talked about was putting a line item just above adjournment. That was to just ask the question if anybody identified anything during the meeting that should be reviewed for redaction.
Okay,
So I'm just wondering if we put that in the policy, that we would put that in this agenda each time. So I think we should start asking that question at the end so we follow our own policy.
okay.
So I'd add that just before adjournment. I just put down video review / redaction.
Put that as before the comments, we'll put that as 16A. Anything else?
Move to accept the agenda as revised.
There's a second?
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Eagle Scout Project, Ashton Rowe. Good evening. Welcome.
My name's Ashton Rowe, Boy Scout Troop 435. I've been in Scout for over 10 years, and I'm looking for approval for my Eagle project. So my idea is I like to put up benches in the baseball field at Alquist Park in Linwood. I also want to put bases in and put a lockbox, keep the bases from being stolen. My plan would be to measure out how many feet I need for my concrete base or enough for concrete blocks to be hidden in the ground to keep the benches in place. Next, measure out how far each base has to be according to Little League or community regulations. After, I would start to put the anchors in the ground for the bases and make sure they're correct size and will work for all different sporting events. I would then pour the concrete after we have dug out the area for the legs of the benches, then put in the benches while making sure they are level. And last step, I would put in the lockbox and either bolt it down on a concrete pad or chaining it to the fence. So the estimated cost I had was around $1,250 to $1,450. Each bench costs around $300. The lockbox I'm estimating around $100 to $200. Bases I've found for about $275. And I can help afford this by doing a fundraiser of some sort.
Have any questions for Ashton?
He brought this to the park board and the park board was pretty ecstatic about it. So we are very impressed by the presentation the young man put on. So
It's like a good idea. There a motion to go forward?
make a motion to go forward with the Eagle project by Ashton Rowe.
For a second?
Second.
Has been moved in second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Congratulations, you have an Eagle project.
Great work.
I have you sign.
Come on up here. Ain't the first one.
So then, here you.
Sir. Congratulations.
Thank you guys for.
Thanks, Ashton.
Okay, let's go to planning and zoning. Resolution 2024-21, interim use permit at 7227 Viking Boulevard Northeast.
So the applicants are applying for interim use permit at 7227 Viking Boulevard Northeast. They actually, in September of 2024, to bring the property into compliance, they did rezone the parcel from RA residential agriculture to B general business. A condition of the rezone approval was for the applicants to obtain the interim use permit. The off-street parking and loading are allowable uses as outlined in section 30-523 of the Linwood Town Code, and the outdoor storage of materials and equipment is an allowable principal or accessory use by obtaining an interim use permit as outlined in section 30-524 of the Linwood Town Code. At its regular meeting on November 19th, 2024, following a correctly noticed public hearing, the Planning Commission voted to recommend approval of the interim use permit application. Staff recommends the Linwood Township Board of Supervisors adopt the staff report into record. accept the application, testimony, exhibits, and other evidence presented into the record, and approve interim use permit application 24-17-IUP to bring the property into compliance with the Linwood Town Code with the following conditions. Those conditions would be the area to be screened, areas fenced and screened from the view of neighboring residential uses or from abutting in our district in compliance with section 30-1077. Storage is screened from view of the public right of way in compliance with sections 30-1077. Is grassed or surfaced to control dust. All lighting shall be hooded and so directed that the light source shall not be visible from the public right of way or from neighboring residences and shall be in compliance with section 30-1079. It does not take up parking space as required for conformity to this chapter. And the provisions of sections 30-171 through 30-178 are considered and satisfactorily met. The screening as well shall consist of a fence or wall not less than 5 feet high, but shall not extend within 15 feet of any street or driveway. The screening shall be placed along property lines or, in the case of screening along a street, 15 feet from the street right of way with landscaping between the screening and the pavement. A fence shall block direct vision. Planting of a type approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission may also be required in addition to or in lieu of fencing. Alternatives, the Linwood Town Board of Supervisors could approve the interim use permit and add additional conditions. The Linwood Town Board of Supervisors could deny the interim use permit application. The Linwood Town Board of Supervisors could table the application and request additional information from the applicant.
Okay. Planning and zoning recommended approval, is that correct?
Yes.
Is there a motion to pass resolution number 2024-21?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-21.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Hang on, I'm moving right along here. You gotta give me a minute here to get where I'm at. Resolution 2024-18. This resolution approving a variance to allow a 24.6 foot variance from the 30-foot rear yard setback to build a single family dwelling on Amazon Street Northeast, parcel number 0433-2222-0132.
Yes. The applicant is seeking a 24.6 foot variance from the rear yard setback in the R1 district as outlined in section 30-906 of the Linwood Town Code. This variance will allow the applicant to build a single family dwelling on the parcel. The parcel is approximately 4.46 acres and is uniquely shaped, as you can see in your packet, a U shape, limiting the placement within the buildable area of the dwelling, primary septic system, and alternate septic system site as outlined in section 30-1045 of the Linwood Town Code. The 5 lots were joined by a developer in 2023, and the applicant purchased the parcel in 2023. Prior to the variance application, the applicant did make good faith attempts to locate the owner of the remaining parcel of land, lot 4, for which the variance is being requested from in order to secure a purchase contract. The applicant was unable to locate the legal owner as the recorded owner of the record is deceased. Lot 4's size is approximately 0.099 of an acre, approximately 3,920 square feet. Render it not buildable as outlined in today's town code of section 30-1045. At its regular meeting on November 19th, 2024, following a correctly noticed public hearing, the Planning Commission unanimously voted to recommend approval of the proposed variance. Staff recommends that Linwood Township Board of Supervisors adopt the staff report into record, accept the application, testimony, exhibits, and other evidence presented into the record, and recommend that the town board approve the 24.6 foot variance from the rear yard setback. Alternatives, the Linwood Town Board could recommend denial of the variance request and amend the findings of fact. The Linwood Town Board could table the application and request additional information from the applicant.
I wish to go ahead with it. I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution 24-18.
There's a second.
I'll second it.
Has been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Give me a second. I gotta sign these as I go or I'll miss one. It didn't come up for a while yet. Ordinance 218. Amending chapter 2, article 4, section 2-249. Is that, I'm looking for the ordinance now. Who's gonna speak to that? Go ahead, I'm
Me.
sorry.
Nope, that's okay. So we did, these are just a few housekeeping items that was kind of discovered over the last, couple months. Section 1, the schedule of fees and charges was adopted, back on September 24th of this year, 2024. The town board did approve a new credit card processing system, which actually changes and reduced the processing fee for credit card transactions over the phone or in person. ACH payment was also added to the schedule of fees. Section 2, the title opinions and owner encumbrance report. This was changed due to the fact that abstracts of title are no longer updated. That hasn't occurred since about 2011 to 2012 in the title industry. Everything is electronic. The abstractors are able to pull all the real estate documents electronically to prepare their title commitments. The attorney's title opinion and title company's owner encumbrance report are very similar. They're going to provide the date in which the county is recorded through, who holds fee title, legal description of the property, any existing liens, mortgages, and current tax status. So basically what you're going to need to see if you're completing an administrative subdivision or a plat process. Section 3, the notice of public hearing was amended as there was a discrepancy that was discovered with the code in our application. The code did not match the state statute for the mailing distances for the public hearing notice for the zoning district change. So that has been revised then to match the state statute of 1/2 mile. Any questions?
The motion to approve the amending chapter 2, article 4, section 2-249. Pardon?
I said you lost me.
The ordinance 218, just for clarity, is all of them underneath. Yeah, so we can just I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 218, which includes the amendments that zoning administrator described.
I'll second it.
Moving second to discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Let's see where we are. Community sign permit 24-20 sign.
Yes.
Well, that's good. Okay, I like that. Okay, I'm good. with it.
This is the community sign that was actually brought in front of the board, back on November 12th, kind of for just a preliminary review. If you guys had like that, it was the joint community sign between Linwood Township and Independent School District, number 831. Previous sign, of course, we all know that was destroyed by motor vehicle in 2020. The parties have entered into the parties will jointly own the sign, 50% each party, and Linwood Township would be responsible to pay the biennial sign permit fee of $50. The proposed sign and placement of the monument sign do comply with Town Code sections 30-1173 and 30-1296C and 30-1296D as they pertain to the business district. Again, at the November 12th, 2004 Town Board meeting, this matter is presented for preliminary approval for the applicant to move forward with the sign permit application process. The approval was granted and the Town Board was agreeable to waive the biennial sign permit fee of $50 payable by Linwood Township. The completed application was received by staff and presented to the Planning Commission at its regular meeting on November 19th, 2024. The Planning Commission voted to recommend approval of the sign permit application. Staff recommends the Linwood Township Board of Supervisors adopt the staff report into record, accept the application, testimony, exhibits, and other evidence presented into the record, and approve the sign permit application 24-20-sign with the following condition: to waive the biennial sign permit fee of $50 payable by Linwood Township. The alternative is that the Linwood Town Board of Supervisors could deny the sign permit application. The Linwood Town Board of Supervisors could table the sign permit application and request additional information from the applicants.
Is there a motion to approve or to approve?
Make a motion to approve so we can have some discussion.
Your second?
Second.
Moved second to discussion.
This did not pass, this barely passed planning and zoning, just so you know it. Two things. One, planning and zoning wasn't very happy about the fact that the town board agreed to pay for it before they ever had a chance to see it. Number two is they actually thought, some of the planning and zoning commission thought that this sign with a blinking, because you got the church And then you have this sign in such close proximity, and that's a really bad intersection that they would have preferred that the sign didn't change like that or is so bright. So they, like I said, they barely passed it. It was 4-3. Just wanted to pass that on to the board.
Any more discussion?
So this is just for the sign permit.
Permit
Who's
and waiving the fee, waiving the
waiving the
$50
fee
fee.
every 2 years? As far as the building permits, who's owning that aspect of them? For anything, just with our contract and going back? Is that the builder or, okay, the sign company will process that for, and then the cost will be split for the contract, okay.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Post.
4 aye, 1 nay. It passes. Town Board Ordinance Amendment Procedure.
At the October 22nd Town Board meeting, a draft of the attached Town Board procedure for ordinance amendments was presented for review. The board unanimously approved to send the draft to Planning and Zoning for their consideration and review. At the November 19th, 2024 Planning and Zoning meeting, the commission approved the draft with no changes and agreed to implement the procedure to be used when being directed to amend ordinances.
A motion to accept the Town Board Ordinance Amendment Procedure.
I make a motion to accept the town board amendment procedure.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
I think this is awesome. My question would be is, how does everybody access these procedures or policies? Where are they located that everybody can look at?
I have no idea.
Because that would be something that I think we need to get an answer on is, I mean, it's great that we have these and that we're gonna be building more of them. But if people can't access it,
How are you gonna remember it's even there?
Well, I
There
guess,
was-
I guess if you're gonna want to change an ordinance, I guess you're gonna have to know it's there.
I think, when this first came up, that was where I think I made the not motion, but the mention of somehow categorizing, because this is a procedure or is it a policy? But if we had them all in one place and just indexed them, these would be PZ. These are all the ones. So if you're relating to something planning, you would go to the PZ section and there's all your policies or procedures related to it. So that's exactly just access and knowing what and where these would be, yes. Yeah, it's good. It has a process and you can follow it. Just how do you get it?
Well, like I said, how do you find it? Who came up with this form? Not telling that who came up with this?
Susan and I.
Well, okay, now between you two, now you said, now how are we supposed to find it? She says she doesn't have a clue. So now somebody can help me out here now.
Clue how you find forms anyway, so
Well, okay, well, if you don't know how to do it, how's somebody else in the township gonna know how to do it?
I don't know. This is new to me.
You came up with the form between you and
Came
Susan.
up with the form I did because Annie keeps asking about where's the form. So I thought, okay, you want a form? Here's a form.
So now, so now we have this great form. You don't understand it.
I understand the form. I just don't understand how you're gonna find it.
goes back to what the attorney's recommendation was as far as having a policy and procedure manual, whether it's a digital one, a physical one, but something that, we've got a new town board supervisor coming in that, she doesn't know where this stuff is. I don't know where this stuff is. I've been here almost 2 years. So I think we need to figure out, the question needs to be answered is, can we come up with a common repository, digital or otherwise, that we can access this information?
I won't be here, so I don't know.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? Nay.
Nay.
it fails. It's gonna have to have some more work done to it.
We're not gonna use the procedure, you mean?
Well, until we can figure out how people are gonna be able to find it, it doesn't do any good to have something that says you gotta go do this, but you can't find what you're supposed to be looking for.
Your record is on file in the office. If you ask for them, they're there. You guys all have a copy of it. I mean, your meeting packets go out, you all have a copy of it.
Yeah, I don't think
The
this is,
keeper of the records.
this is gonna need to change.
Has all the records, has all the policies, has all of it. So it's amazing to me after this many years that no one knows where would you go to find it.
Used to be in the old days, we didn't have any problem at all finding it all, but now I gotta go look in the Muni code and start chasing ordinances, do everything. Gotta look in the Muni code, gotta look at different places to find it, instead of having one depository. Where I can say, somebody can say, how do I find this? And somebody can explain to me, or a supervisor can explain to you. He couldn't really explain it to you. He can't explain it to you. I can't. And I've been asked several times, can I do this? Well, just look up the ordinance. I guess I was a fool to tell those people to do that. They must be smarter than me, but. Or call the town hall. That's what I tell them to. I tell them to call you because you're my handy one to tell them to.
Absolutely, that's what your staff is for.
Okay, so what do you want to do with this? We just voted down.
Still go back to that there needs to be a way that people have access, not to change things, but to look things up or read things. Every contract that's been out there, a supervisor should be able to go out and look up and sort through them and say, oh, I didn't know that we had that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I'm sure that has happened, that's documented, that's in a repository someplace that I don't have a clue about. So I'm just saying that's what
Yeah, I'm
Policy
the same
and procedure
boat. This
manual is.
is- The document itself is fine. It's just exactly
Able to
that.
find
How-
it.
How do you get to, you don't know what you don't know. So how are you gonna know to ask for something that may or may not? And just to be able to,
Oh,
To go through it all.
To Pam's defense, you gotta ask. If you don't know, you gotta ask. I guess the problem is making sure you know who to ask to get the right answer. Hello, Pam.
I guess my question is, who are these people? Supervisor Olson, you're saying people need to. Are you talking about the board or the public?
I'm talking about the board.
Okay, again. It's all here. I'm offended that the perception is the stuff is just randomly floating out there. Our filing system is very thorough, very complete. Is it that all supervisors want access to our entire filing system? I'm not sure exactly, is this all going on the website? Is this, I don't know where you're gonna go with this because I'm not sure what the problem is. I mean, what is it that we're trying to fix?
We're the problem.
But no, but what are we trying to fix? Something's broken because some people are upset about. You just voted down policy you said was good. So what are you trying to fix?
Access to the information. I can only speak for myself.
Yep,
I'm during the day when people are here, I may not have time to ask all the questions. I may not even know all the questions to ask. If we had a common repository, especially if it was digital, a lot of people call them intranets. If I went under a folder called contracts, I could go, I don't need access to change them, but just to be able to view them, I may be able to see, something that we've done in the past, especially when it comes to road and bridge projects. It would be interesting to be able to go back and see what projects were done 8, 9, 10 years ago, what the history is, without having to either come into the office or send an email. I realize you guys have amazing records. And every time I come and I ask for something, it's like, and I usually walk out with 5 times more than what I even thought that I was coming in for. No question about the quality and the extensiveness of the records. It's just that sometimes it's nice to be able to browse through and actually see what's even available. I've said it before. I sometimes don't even know what question to ask. If I'm sorting through stuff and I go, oh, well, I didn't know we did this before. Now we become more informed, more educated, I can become more beneficial, I think, to the township. So that's just my perspective of it, but to try to answer your question, that's where I come from. You know, I've done that with a lot of stuff. You wanna, I mean, geez, that's what the internet's for. You know, I want to know how to fix my John Deere tractor and I go, oh, well, I'm going to Google it. And all of a sudden I've got YouTube, I've got all these documents that I didn't know existed. And all of a sudden I learned a lot more than I even knew, you know, what to ask for or search for is what I'm saying. So that's just an example. And that's why the attorney said, should be a policy and procedure manual, whether it's physical or digital, doesn't matter, but there should be something. And to your defense, Carol, is we approved here 2 months ago for the second time a streaming policy. And if I didn't write it, I wouldn't have a copy of it either. So that's another one that we adopted in as a policy. It wasn't turned down, it wasn't rejected, just like yours. This policy is good. I agree with the policy, but we should have a place where these things are going where they can be shared. And then I think this would be accepted in a heartbeat.
Yeah, put a policy page on the website and every policy alphabetical, then it doesn't matter what, just so it's accessible.
Because most of our records are digital anyway, aren't they? I mean, I think you guys scanned and changed a lot of stuff into digital format. I'm just wondering if it would be, obviously some records have to stay inaccessible like personnel files, but it'd be maybe interesting to have a conversation with TR Computers to see if there's a way of having a shared area versus the private data, the data privacy stuff.
So I'm ask a question here. Now that I understand some things here more than what I did a few minutes ago, just listen to people talk. So there's nothing wrong with this form.
I don't think there's an issue with the procedure. I think it's fine.
I'm gonna recall this for the last motion, I'm gonna recall this back for a vote. On town board procedure for ordinance amendments, I'm gonna call this back. And I'm gonna make a motion, we pass town board procedure for ordinance amendments. Is there a second?
Second.
I got my discussion. Because we're not arguing about the form, we're arguing about, right now, we're arguing about a way to get the information. Talking apples and oranges here. All those in favor, any more discussion? All those in favor of the town board procedure for ordinance amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There, it's done. We can get it into the weeds on the other part of it later. We got that taken care of. Zoning administrator updates. That's you.
It is my last points, I promise. At the last planning and zoning meeting, November 19th, it was unanimously voted on and approved to move the meeting time from 7 PM to 6 PM, effective in January. Does the board approve this change?
I'll make a motion that the board approve the change from planning and zoning meeting from 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Second.
Moving second discussion. Can you be there? Yeah, I'll be changed once the times are changed. Yep. Well, we'll try to make sure that's fixed. Okay,
So
any more discussion?
just for clarity, so this is the time, but we're still gonna have then the calendar. We approve that as a group of all the, so it'll just be on there as that, yeah. So the date's still gotta be,
Yes.
So that'll have to be corrected also.
Still gonna be Tuesday. It'll just be 6 o'clock.
Pam?
I just want some clarification on the motion.
Motion to allow the park board to change their meeting from 7
park
o'clock,
board.
or not, park board, I'm sorry. To change from 7 to 6,
P and Z.
P and Z, 7 to 6.
January.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
The cannabis ordinance is currently being worked on by the attorney. We'll be going to public hearing here in December on December 17th. The attorney will attend. I did receive the draft from him today, and if you would like a copy, please reach out to me directly. I can definitely give you a copy for review. We have also put the attorney in contact with the Anoka County Cannabis Senior Program Planner, who actually reached back out to us today with Anoka County, so they can work together on developing the zoning ordinance for registration. The state will be asking the county to confirm whether a business seeking licenses meets the local zoning requirements, and it is expected that Anoka County Board of Commissioners will review and vote on their ordinance in January to be effective February. So just kind of wanted to give you an update that's kind of coming down the pipeline, and the attorney's gonna be involved again with Anoka County directly to make sure they're following, Anoka County zoning procedures according to state regulations. I think the only thing then in the packet is the resolution that would delegate the township's authority to Anoka County to register the cannabis businesses. So the township would not be involved in actually registering businesses. The county would, and then checking, of course, with the state and making sure they're vetted, and then also to local township then for the zoning parts of it.
Resolution 2024-22, delegating authority to Anoka County to register certain cannabis businesses. Is there a motion to pass resolution 2024-22?
So moved.
For a second?
Second it.
Moving second, discussion. We've already had this discussion before, folks. We already sat down. We decided that's what we're gonna do. So there's just clarifying it and putting it in writing. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
We're gonna be doing a codification onto Municode to get a lot of these ordinances kind of within the last year actually into the code. So when someone is in Municode searching online, they're not gonna have to look at the ones that aren't included in there. We're gonna hold off a little bit till the cannabis one is passed, so everything is gonna be in one spot. So that'll get codified along with the property maintenance code, telecommunications ordinance, the amendments that were just passed tonight, and even some that were previously passed. And we're expected to do that updated probably, I'm guessing, early to mid-January. So just get everything kind of cleaned up and then actually into Municode so it's easily searchable by residents and myself. And lastly, just kind of an update on Orinoco Circle Northeast, that solar array. This was brought in front of the board. It wasn't enforcement, had an extension through the end of this year. They came in front of the board on October 22nd requesting to waive the screening requirement, and the board did not approve that. The panels have now been moved, screened with a 6-foot by 60-foot privacy fence. All setbacks are met, if not exceeded, and this enforcement is closed.
Good.
Yeah.
One more put away. Anything else?
Not for me,
Any-
no.
Any questions?
I'd like to ask the man that said the park. There's two different times. Could you tell me your name so I can't find it, so I would like to know who you are so I can know how to contact you to figure it out? Yeah, when I looked it up, it's 6 o'clock and
One page at 6 o'clock.
well, I got 6 o'clock twice, so could you call me so I could, we could figure this out so we can fix it? Okay, thank you.
All right. Parks Commission report.
We had a meeting last night, very long meeting, but good meeting. The committee would like to put mulch in Playful Shadows and Allquist. We were talking about doing some lime, but got a lot of different prices on limes. We're gonna hold off with lime, and we want to get some mulch in Playful Shadows and Allquist. I believe it was a total of 141 yards. I believe I just got the email about, what was it, 130 plus 75, so 205 yards for $9,430, $9,430, yeah. So I'd like to make a motion to spend up to $9,500 on mulch for Playful Shadows and Allquist Memorial Park.
A second,
Second.
moving second, discussion. They got the money? Okay, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Right.
Opposed, motion carries. Go ahead.
January 24th, we're having a skating party / grand opening for the warming house. If we do get our temp CO, and we would like to spend up to $250 for said skating party on Friday, the 24th of January.
Okay, got a motion, is there a second?
Second for discussion.
Okay, moving second to discussion,
So the 250, what budget does that come out of? Can that come out of the celebration?
No, I asked that question.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's coming out of parks.
Okay.
And it's for everything, whether you gotta buy hot chocolate, popcorn, and we're not gonna say we're gonna spend that much, but just to cover all our bases.
okay, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries. Next,
What else am I missing, ladies? Pretty all right? Good? Okay, thank you. Then that should be it.
all right, 7A, recycle, Menards, Andy.
So update on the building, rocking along last week and hit a snafu with the well. There's, come to find out, it's actually a three-phase well. So we have a power converter in the gray building. That was not part of the demo when the well crew was in there. So we are gonna need about, he said I would say up to $900. I'd like to seek approval for the electrician to move that existing phase converter over to the new park storage so we can power the well. All the plumbing's done. The original electrical was in there and then it didn't fire up, and through investigations, it was found that it's three-phase.
Is that a motion?
I make a motion to spend up to $1,000 on moving the electric from one building,
The three-phase
the
converter.
three-phase converter from the old silver building to the new warming house.
Second.
Pump area.
Moving seconded, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Abstain.
motion carries. One abstention, 4 ayes, 1 abstention.
So the other outstanding item is, well, with that, I will get him going with that because he was gonna be trimming out and filing the electrical on the reuse and then working this into the schedule to get that up and going, understanding that our temperatures have dropped and we're looking to make ice, so. Garage door openers, working with Walters on the service work for that. They were out here on Friday and they had didn't have the right stuff or saw some stuff in the way and didn't have the right material. So Walters is working with them to get the correct sizing for the hangers to get those garage doors done. And then on the Menards thing was just to get, make sure that I'm on the Menards list because I have to get some lumber for the temporary occupancy to build the stoops at the warming house and stuff. So it's gonna go this weekend and get that, but I want to make sure to get approval to get on the Menards list.
Make a motion that we add Andy Lutke to the Menards purchasing list.
Seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Anything else?
Nope, we'll keep plugging away then on it.
All right,
On the well. So a couple months ago, when the first bid came to the board, it was for $9,000 for the well. And I think you were able to come up with $9,200. And now it just seems like every couple weeks we're coming back and it's $500 here, it's $750 there, now it's another 900. What budget is that coming out of if we only had 9,200 available to begin with?
It's for the parks, it's for the flooding of the rinks. I mean, that's all parks.
That would be parks and not park dedication? Because is that considered maintenance?
So the $9,200, what did that come up? What was that coming out of?
Because it's the same well.
Yeah, it's the same well. I'm just trying to, I just want to understand where the money is coming from
Did the
because
9,200 come out of park dedication or did that come out of the park?
Not sure at the second. But that would be for McCullough.
Yep.
I'm assuming if we had 9,200, we've run out of that. So I'm just wondering where that's coming from now.
240 out of the parks.
And there's plenty in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So along with the mulch and everything, they should be sitting good for the end of the year. So, well, should be sitting at their budget
Oh,
with the
when-
approval of the mulch.
So when would building maintenance come into play as far as that budget?
Would the building maintenance be moving the well? That be part of building maintenance?
Because then that would
Get
allocate,
part of the building.
because then that would allocate some of the dedication to, because that dedication is specific stuff.
No, this is the
The dedication is specific.
specific, correct? So
Yeah.
the reuse, so the warming house and the maintenance garage for parks, that was an improvement to the park. Okay. This, I mean, the well was there prior. The well is not part of a building in itself. So, I mean, that's parks, that's not gonna be a building fund.
But whether it got fixed in that building that it used to be in or moved to this building, it's still a park expenditure. Never, it's not a maintenance, it's still a park expenditure. So if the well would have went out, it wouldn't have been a maintenance. If it would have straight up went out.
Didn't we just do the water softener as maintenance?
In the fire department,
Yeah.
what did that get put in?
The water softeners for the building
Would
though,
be for the building.
guys.
But
This is
that's
a
what I'm saying,
sprinkler
but
system.
I'm just on his question. That's why I was clarifying, because if that well would have stayed in there, it's for the building. It's part of the building.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an irrigation system out here.
Yeah.
I get it.
mean,
I get it.
yes, it's for the strictly the parks. It's not for buildings. It's
It's not for a
fixed to
building,
A
it's
building. It's not
not for a
coming.
building, where the water softener was actually for a building.
So in Public Works, if a truck breaks, that's your operating budget. That's, you fix things. You're maintaining.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree. I just, like I said, when I was first presented, it sounded like Alyssa did a good job trying to figure out the line items to come up with $9,200 to cover 9,000. So I agree that's where it should come from, but I was trying to figure out, well, if we ran out of money at 9,200, where's the extra money coming from? Is that coming from somewhere else in parks? Is it coming from, I don't know. That was my question. I can get with you one-on-one too, if you want. That'll give you time to look at it.
Yeah, it's gonna come out of the maintenance fees, but parks in a whole, I mean, they didn't budget 9 grand for mulch, but they also haven't had a park attendant that we've been paying wages on.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, their last dollar at the bottom for their budget is what we're looking at right now. So we're getting to that point in the time of year. I mean, that's in a whole, just so they don't go over their budget. The line items have to stay the line items, just because that's what we get audited on.
Mhm.
So they need to be placed where the auditor expects it. I can't place mulch in wages. Even though that's where we have money left over right now as wages, I can't put mulch up there. So I mean, right now we're looking at that bottom dollar. They've got the 9 grand approval for the mulch. We've got the well coming out of there and the repairs that were unexpected. So I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're looking at right now. So
And until we actually put a line item on things that just come out of the woodwork, I mean, when you put a well at the fire station, when you put a new air compressor at the fire station, all this stuff, until somebody in this board can read a magic ball, or we buy that magic 8-ball, we're gonna put a well in this year? We don't know. I mean, we're all throwing darts. We do it every single year. You just have no idea what's gonna break tomorrow.
All right, the money's there. We're good. All right, fire department update.
All right, thank you, Chairman Parker, supervisor, staff, and then residents. Just looking for some town board approvals. First one is the extrication equipment that we put in for last year. AFG grant went from a high priority to a medium priority, which means the chances of us getting that is slim to none. So I'd like to pivot and have a grant for a grass utility vehicle, which is classified as a high priority consideration. I talked to the grant writer. He's on board. We're just waiting for the approval from the board.
Make a motion, allow them to go for a grant for what kind of vehicle?
It's going to be a grass utility
A
vehicle.
grant utility vehicle.
Second.
Then moved and seconded. Discussion.
What is a grass utility vehicle? Is that like ATV side by side or?
It would be a Ford pickup truck that would also be using as a response for medicals. So we can repurpose the topper that we have on the current utility vehicle.
Any more discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, board. Next, we'd like to send 7 firefighters to state schools, starting in January. Historically, we send around 5, but, just to cover our bases, we're looking to send up to 7 firefighters.
Make a motion, we allow the fire department to send 7 firefighters to state school.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next.
Thank you, board. Last, with the more frequent mutual aid calls we're getting from our mutual aid partners, we're looking to get the approval to start looking at Opticoms, which are the flashing lights that change lights on whether it's 65, 35, or 61. Looking for the board approval to start investigating Opticoms for engine 1, engine 2, tender 1, tender 2, grass 1, and grass 2. And again, this will be a 2025 budget line request.
Make a motion, allow the fire department to look into Opticons for grass 1, grass 2, tanker 1, tanker 2, or excuse me, tender 1, tender 2, and engine 1, engine 2. There's a second.
I'll second that.
It's moved and seconded. Discussion.
And that's up to 2,500?
We're just gonna start looking at pricing.
Okay, got it. Got it. Thank you.
They're not looking to purchase, they're just looking at, see what the cost is gonna be. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, board. The Rescue 5 recall, firefighter Anderson brought it to Maurice. It was a software update. So that's been complete. So thank you to firefighter Anderson, Jess Anderson, who took time out of her day to do that. Nothing's changed on open burning. Again, it's permit only. And then recreation fires, 3x3, anytime between 5 and 8 in the morning. Just some comments. Again, breakfast with Santa, December 7th from 8 until 10. It looks like Santa's ready to roll. So thank you. So last but not least, health strategies were out on November 6th. All our firefighters have been cleared and it passed their physicals. And I did submit that bill tonight. So with that, that's all I have.
Any questions for the chief? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Old business, Anoka County ARPA subrecipient agreement for generators.
This is just the resolution. Oh, wait, no, wrong one.
Like I said, no, we're not that far yet. Slow down.
When the board was discussing the generators, you wanted something in writing showing that the county really is going to give us the money and how would we be reimbursed? That's what this is. This is a real standard ARPA subrecipient. The county received the money and this is how they're spending it. So all the details are in this as far as how the township will get paid back for them, for the expenditures.
That takes no action.
Oh, Yeah, I'll make a motion. We move forward with Anoka County contract number C00111246. The substituent agreement for the ARPA funds from the county.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, you ready? Resolution 2024-19 to spend ARPA funds on lost revenue replacement category and obligate funding to contract for the new bumper fire truck.
Now, this is just officiating what we had decided in the last meeting on the allocations for the remainder of the ARPA funds for ever. So it's just because we do have our contracts in place, so this will get uploaded with the SLFRF reports, so.
Is there a motion to pass resolution 2024-19?
Make a motion to move forward with resolution 2024-19.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. See where I'm at here. Okay, resolution 2024-20, transfer funds from Road and Bridge Capital to general fund. We have two people looking at each other over there like, okay, do you want to speak to this or what?
Once again, this is a resolution solidifying the decisions that were made in the 11-12 board meeting. The transfer of the funds from the Road and Bridge Capital to the general fund, getting the general fund out of the woods a little bit.
I make a motion that we accept resolution 2024-20.
Second,
Second.
moved and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I think
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Okay, hiring public works employee.
So I handed out, there's a public copy also in the book, but I handed out some things that were not in the board packet. I didn't get them to the clerk in time. So I took the first document is the job description. It was pretty close to what it needed to be. I just made a couple additions in there that are redlined in your copy. So under primary responsibilities, there's a couple qualifications. There's a few. It more or less requires to come into this with a commercial driver's license rather than just be willing to get one at some point. And then it talks a little bit more about being able to do the on-call stuff. The second document in here was the ad that was used the last time. And there's a little bit more red line in here. More of a focus on public works and the snow plowing part of it. And again, pushing the fact that they come in with a commercial license and have a lot more snow plowing abilities and again, push the on-call part of it quite a bit more. Those two documents. The third document, what I did was I called around to a lot of municipalities. Some of them are still waiting to get a response back. Some of them were very forthright in sharing. What I did was I contacted them and asked them what their low side and high side was for their public works employees as far as their compensation goes. So I've got 7 of them here. You can see by the column, the low side is what where their entry point is and where the high side is. Couple other things to point out in this is that like the first 2 are fairly low in comparison to the other 5. But what I found in talking to them is, and I didn't get their entire compensation plan for an employee, but you can see that some of them are union, some of them have better benefits on the backside. So the ones that are paying less money seem to be making it up in benefits. Let's see, the healthcare payout was another one. There's a few that if you don't opt into their healthcare plan, then they get either that amount or a portion of it back. There was a term that one of them used. I'll have to figure out what that is again. Incompensated, because I know there was a question with somebody about, can you actually take what a person doesn't, if they don't opt into the healthcare, can we as a township actually pay them what we would have paid in for their healthcare premium? And so that's something that we'd probably have to talk to an attorney about, or unless you already know the answer. So, but like I said, there was another term that they used for it, but maybe cities can and we can't. Another thing was clothing allowance. Most of them had some sort of a clothing allowance in annually. And then the lower ones also have expressed that they also are continuing to look for snowplow drivers. That seemed to be a common theme when I was talking to the communities about it, is everybody seemed to be either looking for public works employees, or they started this entry level program to where they bring them in for less money and they have like a 3-4 year training program. And so they up the money as they go through the 3 or 4 years, and they're basically OJTing these people and creating their own public works employees. But what they also said is that they bring them in low because they don't have the experience, but they have to give them pretty good bumps each year as they progress to that 3-4 year point, because otherwise they get the experience and the knowledge. And if the pay is not there, they leave and they go someplace else where the pay is. So one thing we don't want to do is train for somebody else's, some other communities benefit with these employees. So that's what I found out on there. The 4th page, just based on the averages, if you look at that 3rd page, the average low side pay was $27.75. High side was $34.42 when I averaged them out. One of these municipalities was down in the cities. So I kind of thought, well, they probably pay a little higher. So you'll see that there's one without, it says without NSP. So that would be without the one in the cities. So $27.39, then it's not much off from the averages. So that's kind of your average range that I'm finding out there with competing municipalities. So the 4th document is just kind of a proposed, it's a format that I've used, so I put it into this format not to make it confusing. But I was trying to figure out, based on the averages, is what would maybe be appropriate for Linwood to consider. And so I looked at a 9 step format. So there'd be 9 different steps to that pay grade. And then we can identify what constitutes each one of those pay grades. It's not always necessarily the amount of years of service, but it might also be that there's specific training or education that they have to get in order to be able to move into the next step. And so I just kind of put some of those things off to the right that you can look at. But so as an example, step 1 entry level would be starting at $23 an hour. If they come in with some experience, off to the right, if they already have experience running doing plowing with a 1-ton, they've already, they're already salt certified, those kind of things. Well, then we can start them up at a step 2. So you don't have to always start at step 1. It's going to depend on their experience that they're coming in with as to what step you start them at. But the range that I realize my step 1 is even lower than the lowest average of the communities that I gave you. That was 27 something. Well, I've got it down at 23, but 9 step increases with a max out at $35 an hour. And that's just throwing it out there for the board to discuss, and you can modify it from there, or you don't have to accept it at all and keep it the same. If we could keep it the same, we're not going to get the quality of people that we're going to need to be able to go out and plow. Thoughts, comments, questions?
What is our range now?
Our range right now is from $18 to $26 an hour. So our top end is lower than the average low end of the wages right now of the other municipalities. Except for those two. Those two are just a little bit lower. 25.41 and 25.10 is not much off from $26 an hour. So if we paid our maximum, it's like, and then when you figure out the benefits, the cafeteria plan, all that kind of stuff, it's like, even though they're paying a few cents less than us at their lowest level to our highest level, they still beat us hands down as far as pay.
Not
Questions?
necessarily, because we have holidays, we pay a decent health insurance plan.
Mhm.
We have sick time. We probably have more PTO than any.
That could be. And like I said, I did not do a thorough investigation of what their entire comp plan is. But on those two lower ones, you know, they do $1,450 a month in a cafeteria plan contribution. They do an MSRS, $2,000 match per year. There's another one, I can't remember which one it was, that had the $750 annual clothing allowance. So yeah, it's, if we really wanted to get down to the pennies, we'd have to do a thorough comparison with benefits. Yeah, I've got a question.
Any other questions? No. Sorry, Pam.
I see a majority of them are union shops, so I think it'd be interesting to find out what their union dues are. I think we're right in there by the time you're paying $4 to $10 an hour on union pay.
Mhm.
That comes right off their paycheck. So that also comes in there when you're comparing with unions. My kids work union and
Sure.
$46 an hour sounds great until they take the union dues out of there. So I would just consider that when you're looking at those numbers. And I don't know what any of these places union dues are, but
Yep.
yeah, I think it's going to take some work to look at the benefits package that we have and what
Mhm.
other ones are looking at.
Anything
Do we
else?
not need to do something pretty
No.
quickly?
Yep. Yeah, that's why I don't know how much time we can afford to spend in getting into the details too far. But
We have what we have, so we need a pay scale.
What's the top skill right now?
26.
Starting. That they don't max out it.
No, I'm saying right now, what we put, when we did our interviews, what we were given for information is that our pay range was from 18 to 26 here.
Your starting range.
Yeah, so right now
Right.
we max out at 26, so if we have somebody that has any kind of experience. So we keep saying these guys come in want $30 an hour and $28 an hour. Let's see why they do that.
Mhm.
Well, we need to get somebody to take this position for the snow flies. I'll guarantee you that because we don't have anybody to plow. What's anybody's thoughts? Want to raise the top of the scale? Leave it as it is? Don't look at me like that disgusted, Carol, because we can't get it.
I'm thinking, I was trying to, he said that was the beginning pay scale. I wanted to know what the whole pay scale.
I mean, because I'm just looking at what the top, we got to start them at where we are, but the top of our pay scale is at 26 right now.
So I want a quick question, clarification. You said that the starting pay range is between 18 and 26. So we can offer anything in that amount to start. And then if that's true, is there another pay scale I'm not aware of that goes beyond? So if a person that's been here for 5 or 6 years, are they above the $26 an hour?
Because they get their length of service and what we used to call COLA increases. So that puts them above that.
If we
Starting.
maintain that schedule.
Is there a maximum that they can go to? What's their high end? Like when I talked to these municipalities, when they gave me their high end, it wasn't their starting high end. It was, this is where they top out at on their scale. Like if it was step increases, once they get to $34.16 an hour, they'll get their cost of living, but they're not going to get anything above
Anymore.
that. That's their maximum. So as the pay scale goes up, you know, with the cost of living, they'll get that amount, but they're not gonna get another $2 an hour or $1.50 hour on top of cost of living. Where the step increases gives them above the cost of living. So like I said, I haven't, if there's something that we've got documented, I haven't seen it, so that would,
Sure, in the employee handbook. I mean,
it does how they get the raises each year, but I've never seen anything that says a maximum. Did I miss something in
there
there?
is no maximum. If you continue working here until the handbook changes, you continue, but you know what your increases are per year.
Cause we just
The
changed it,
newer
what,
one.
2 years ago? We just
Well,
changed it. It was, we changed like these three numbers.
Yeah.
And I think after 10 years, it's like 1% or 1.5% or something. We
It's a
just
quarter,
changed.
it's a quarter. of
A quarter,
percent.
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 1%.
So for
we
each of
changed
your
it.
first years, yeah, the board just changed that.
Yep,
And yeah, so for your first year that you work here, you get a 1% increase. And that's like the first couple years. And then a 0.5% increase. So they're called length of service.
Okay. I mean, given that information, then it sounds like what we're doing is looking at changing the starting pay range. If we're gonna follow what we've been apparently
I
doing in
think
the
we need to
past,
Change our starting pay rate. I don't know if you were, where are we at, 18 and 26?
$18 to $26 an hour right now.
Or 18 to 26?
And again, keep in mind that the average at 27.75, or if you want to use the other number, 27.39, that's their entry level starting for somebody that does not have experience.
I do want to bring up that some of them are not as clear as they should be, especially with job advertisements. Sometimes the advertisements currently will take into the benefits that are paid by the employer as part of wage. I've noticed that in some of the ads that I've come across, because it is not until starting of January 1st of 2025 that the new law is in place. That's going to require employers to include salary range, the general description of the benefits, details of other competencies, including, so basically, starting January 1st, they need to lay it all out on the table. This is your base wage. This is what, you know, the township applies towards benefits. This is your paid time off. This is, so I mean, just, I know you've been looking at a lot of them, but some of them can be skewed
Mhm.
because they can take into, say, we hire at $25 an hour, that's your base wage, but then the township also pays X amount per, you know, month on your health insurance. And then they can also calculate in a lot of factors. I've even seen it all the way broken out to actual man hours working. You know, you get X amount of days off, but then you're actually physically only working these amount of days. So just so you know, them numbers can be skewed.
So
January 1st, correct?
January 1st, so we have to have that. So when you say the pay range, is that the starting pay range or is that the total min max?
Starting salary range. So
Starting
just the
salary
starting,
range.
correct?
Okay. Okay. Well, my fear is if we're not at give or take $30 an hour, if we're looking for somebody that can actually get in a plow truck and drive it, and we're not going to do OJT all winter and not have roads plowed, we better be prepared to pay accordingly.
Yeah, who we gonna pay? There's no way to hire if you don't have a wage out there to go get them.
Well, that's just it. We had one person that applied for several public works jobs and couldn't even get an interview because the experience wasn't enough. They were looking for people that could get in a truck and plow. And so it's getting interesting. But we're not gonna, my fear is we're not gonna get people that are experienced that can plow without going through all the training if we're not willing to pay.
What would you think would be a good pay range? We gotta come up with something tonight. We gotta get somebody hired to come in here.
Mhm.
We need to come up with a number.
Agree.
I don't care if it's what the magic number is or what it's gonna be, but we need to come up with a number tonight so we can get this advertised and try to get somebody down here.
Can I just suggest, I think this would be a really good time then to put this into play for the ad. I mean, then if you're really trying to get those people, let's put the benefits out there. You're gonna have them come January 1st anyway. That ad should, and I think that would enrich the ad. You know, there's health insurance, there's so many days of vacation. I think since it's gonna be the law, or since it
Yeah.
is the law, I think this would be a great time to start that and maybe would encourage more people. Yeah, and maybe I can afford to work for $2 less an hour if they're gonna pay my health insurance, which is another $4 an hour. I
Mhm.
don't know the number off the top of my head, but I think let's use every incentive we possibly have. I'm not saying not to increase the wage. But since we're gonna have to do it,
Yeah,
maybe this is the time to just roll everything out there.
I love it. I think it's a great suggestion.
For numbers.
Well, I'm gonna go back to what I suggested here. We'll start there and you guys can beat it up, but I still say that you gotta be between $23 and $35 an hour.
Did you say 20?
$23 to $35 an hour is what I would suggest is the new starting pay range. Well, it's a pay range though.
Spectrum. You gotta
it's
start
a spectrum.
somewhere.
You gotta start someplace.
And the reason why I have that low number is if we all of a sudden have a stellar candidate that really doesn't have the experience, but is definitely somebody that we might see moving forward with the township in the future, that's an entry level that we could do OJT with, if we chose to do it. It's not for this particular position because we need somebody with experience quicker, but it leaves that open for future hires.
What are your numbers?
23 to what?
23 to 35
35.
gives enough of a latitude. And I'm not saying to pay 35, I'm just saying it gives us enough latitude in there depending on who we get walking in the door.
I'd rather change it 25, 35.
I'm fine with anything that falls in that range.
Nobody else's thought so, but 25 start is a decent wage, to at least get them in the door anyhow. And up to 35, I don't know what y'all's thoughts are, but we need to hire somebody and we need someone that's gonna attract them to get them to come down here and take a look at these numbers.
I would agree with that, Mike.
Go ahead, Pam.
Can I just throw this out there? And I know this has been brought to the board before too, is that you're basing this on a CDL driver with experience, but 75% of the year they're vacuuming. And so, I mean, just keep that in mind as well, is that that's what you're looking for, is paying that top dollar because of that. But they're going to be doing cleaning and sweeping and emptying garbage and that kind of stuff. So just keep that in mind too, that
Let's still keep looking at 25 to 35. Anybody else's thoughts?
Didn't hear you.
She makes you vacuum already, so what's the difference? You're already experienced at that. She could write you off on that. I'm gonna make a motion, we set the range from 25 to $35 an hour. Starting wage. For the maintenance position.
Second.
Moved and seconded discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed? Carol?
I'm not.
Okay, I got 4 ayes, 1 opposed. I think we need to get this out. Posted again right away.
I don't know if we need a motion for this, but if the board is okay with it, I'll work with the clerk to implement her suggestions so that the benefits are listed in there. She's more well versed in that than I am.
Everybody good with that?
I have one comment.
Go ahead.
My comment is, let's not forget who we have, because we wouldn't want to hire somebody and then have the other person quit.
Well, this is the thing too, so this is something that's
So I
been looked
just
down the pipe
wanted to
too.
throw
Yes,
that
it
out.
is. I've already been having that pondered, so,
Okay,
all right, you'll work with the clerk and get all this.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to get this posted, because even now we lost another 2 weeks, so we're gonna have to get this posted before the next meeting, otherwise it's gonna be February or March by the time we get somebody
Yeah, we
in.
need to get it in soon.
And
Anything
Murray,
else?
we'd like you to plow in the meantime. Thank you.
It's a full-time maintenance position with qualifications for plowing.
Yeah, but half the people hate it screwing up their unemployment.
Okay,
Yeah. Sounds great.
We do have a part-time position available, open right now too.
all right, anything else? Let's go to the next one. Approve the August 26th special joint town board meeting minutes. A motion to approve,
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
your second,
This is just tabled from the last one. I guess if you got them.
I'll second for discussion here.
okay, discussion,
So just going back to it, this was from the joint meeting and this was done prior to having all the code analysis done. And the thing in here that came around was, the decision of the parking lots and the sidewalk and the discussion of splitting that, and Parks was stating they don't need that, they don't access that. And here it's saying it was determined that they will cover 1/3. And the reality of it is that parking lot might not even be the whole building. It's not required to be. So I just didn't want that to be something that's locked in that comes back when the paving happens. So and we talked about them at the last meeting. I don't just what the process is for amending the minutes then, or if it's just approve it with that sentence stricken, or how.
you can make an amendment to the meeting minutes.
Okay.
So what do you want to have changed?
Remove the striking that parks dedication will cover 1/3 of the portion of the sidewalks and parking lots.
Is that one of the earlier paragraphs?
It's right at it's the last paragraph on the first page. It's almost the last sentence on the page.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, just based on my recollection, I facilitated that meeting and I don't remember that there was ever decisions made, because I know that I kept track of what we discussed, and then at the very end, I listed out the action items that we were leaving with, because there was action items. I think there were 6 or 7 action items that people were gonna follow up with. So if I'm going on my recollection, Andy, I think you're probably right that it was not a decision to actually do that. I think there was discussion about it, but I don't think there was a decision.
Is there a motion to accept the meeting minutes as amended?
So moved.
Your second,
So there was a motion on, that's why there was a motion on the table.
oh,
So that's why I'm just questioning the process, because like I said, this is the first. This came up last time at the last meeting and, it said just, it was our minutes, but then how do we go through it? We just tabled it to come back here, so
okay, who seconded it?
I did.
Rescind your second?
Yes.
Who made the motion?
Carol did.
Carol, would you rescind your motion?
Yes.
All right. Now, make a motion to, would somebody like to make a motion to,
I'll make a motion to approve the Parks joint meeting minutes from August 26th with the removal of the sentence, it was determined that Parks dedication funds will cover 1/3 of the portion of the sidewalks and parking lots.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain, I wasn't there. I can't vote on something I wasn't there to see. New business employee annual reviews.
I guess I brought that up. I think it's time that we do that before the end of the year.
Well, it's not gonna get done well. May get done by the end of the year. Y'all wanna set up times? Y'all wanna bring it back next meeting when you get more clarity?
I'll get them scheduled.
Pardon?
I would get them scheduled. I
Okay.
mean, we're already almost into December.
All right, when you want to schedule them, get your calendars out.
How many days did we do it last year? Pam, you remember?
We
We do it for 3 days?
I think it was 3 days.
It was all in,
I can't remember offhand,
it was all in one day.
Yeah.
but it was all day long then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I did the media separate.
Okay.
Yeah, we did ours in the evening one night and then we did all the rest of them in that afternoon.
All right. What date you want to do it?
Do the 4th and the 12th.
I'm fine with either one of those days.
Fourth and the 12th?
Mm-hmm.
4th and the 12th, 4th and the 12th, Andy, 4th and the 12th. Carol? All right. December 4th and 12th. All right, affidavit of office interest form update.
So listen, we just did the ones for this meeting tonight and we just chatted and we got conflicting from each attorney, so we're gonna contact them and get something straight from them.
Okay. Table if not, bring it back next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, upcoming meetings, we have an MPCA MS4 notification letter came out for webinar December 5th from 9 to 11 a.m. That is Minnesota Pollution Control. They're talking about water issues that we may have to abide by. So
Stormwater pollution prevention plan.
that's the plan right there.
I
So-
can do that if somebody wants. I am certified in it. Somebody wants me to do it.
Okay, so that's something that's
Next
coming up.
Friday.
So that's coming up for, well, it's a webinar. He's kind of telling us what's coming out, what the state's trying to get us to
Yeah, it's
do.
a 2-hour webinar. I think it's from 9 to 11 next
Yep,
Friday.
9 to 11 next Friday.
I can do that.
Okay, next I have, is there anything then that we've talked about tonight? Anybody on the board? Pam, Alyssa, that should be redacted from the meeting minutes? No? Okay, we're good then. Comments? Treasurer?
I just kind of want to revisit the employee annual reviews. You guys set the 4th and the 12th.
Correct.
Is there timeframes?
I
Who's
guess
scheduling
whatever- I guess I'd set them up. I think we started for like at 8 in the morning, whoever's here and ran them right through. We gave them a chance to check which, I think he gave them a chance to select what times they had to do it.
Here's my questioning, because last year when this happened, I scheduled everybody, came up with what documentation had happened in the past, gave every supervisor a kind of a little bit of an outline, and some people didn't care for it. So who's creating the interview platform? Who's going to be scheduling the employees? What are the timeframes? Did a wage scale get created like was going to get created previously? There's some loose ends here and I don't know who's doing them.
Is it something to consult with HR consultant on?
Certainly could.
Yeah, we're gonna ask her and get back right away. Okay,
And then I mean, to the high level though, just to get the calendar stuff going, because we're talking next week. And I think what you're asking is if it's both days and we do half days each day and the windows then are for the employees to pick the times, or
I think that's the easiest way to do it, just set up time slots and let them pick when they want to be in here, so.
What are the time slots? And are
Get
employees
'em
employees eligible to do it via remote? I'm just asking questions.
I think everybody had to be here last time. I think everybody had to be in sight, so.
Everybody was in person.
I think we did as many as possible during the day while people were here
Mhm.
working.
Yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
start till like noon. And then it went through the afternoon and the late evening. It was all,
Started
but
at
I
noon.
wouldn't advocate for that again because there was no breaks for us. And I know some had to come back and stuff like that, so if we can make it within the working hours and like I said, if you split a half day each day, you should be able to make it work for some.
So what hours you want to do it?
I do think we need an hour so we have some time before the next one to talk.
Well, set up for an hour apiece. Start them
Noon to
at,
5 or something,
huh?
noon to 5.
Yeah, we can do a noon to 5. That gives you 5 of them a day.
How many employees we got? 13, 11, 10, 9?
Depends, are you gonna start interviewing or reviewing fire department?
Well, we always do the chief.
Just the chief.
We just do the chief. So. Start them at 9. Go 9 to 5 for the first one and.
That's a long day.
Well, yeah, it is. But you could do 9 to 5 on one day and then you can use your second day as the catch up for anybody else you didn't get in the first one.
I cannot do 9 to 5.
Yeah, I would,
I can do the one at about 3, 4, and 5, but I can't do 9 to 3.
Okay, we got 3, 4, and 5.
that's why I'm saying we do them over both days, because you're not gonna catch every employee on,
Yeah, but that many employees, if you're only doing 3 at an hour at a time and 3, 4, and 5, there you got three of them done. You gotta have a whole lot more days to me if to match it up, because I think 2 days and 3 apiece is 6.
I think last year we kind of approved that if there was supervisors in the township during the day, they could do the earlier ones. And then as people who were not in the township during the day, they came in and did it at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock, whatever.
Why don't we start at 10?
Okay, start them at 10.
Offer 10 to 5 both days?
10 to 5 both days.
See, what I mean, obviously it's not gonna get filled up, but
that's the thing, it's not gonna get filled up because of the quantity, but then we'll make it work. And then if you guys talk to her on documentation or process stuff, whatever,
So who is available at 10 o'clock in the morning, I guess? I'm not.
I can
I
do
am.
those, I can do those days.
I'll make those days happen.
Okay.
How
Alright.
many employees, remember how many employees we review?
I mean, less than 10,
What I thought.
Right.
Like 9?
10,
Because we're missing 2. We don't
10,
have,
11.
so
11 if we're forgetting some.
All right. Anything else? Clerk's comments. Okay, Carol?
I have a question, and my question is about Ashton. We get free benches.
2
Just
benches.
saying. Huh?
2 benches.
Yeah, but he's doing long aluminum ones. I'd say they're probably 12 feet long.
They're for
They-
they're for
they
the
get
teams
con-
that sit down.
Yeah, they get concreted right into the
Okay,
ground.
I get it. Right,
Okay, anything else?
I don't have.
Andy?
Just recycling center is closed for the holiday Thursday. Normal hours are closed and Saturday as well, so making everybody aware of that.
Okay. Bob?
Could I have the clerk send out the packet for the school forest JPA? And can we bring that up in 2 weeks? We had the school forest chair and the principal at our park board meeting last night. And, I want everybody on this board just to read that whole JPA, and then I'd like to bring it up in 2 weeks and discuss the maintenance is the biggest thing. We can do that. I lied. I just checked my calendar. I cannot do that webinar.
Okay.
I lied. I cannot do that webinar. How dare I lie? Straight to hell I'm going.
All right.
So if somebody else can do that, be greatly appreciated. The Linwood Outdoor Rink Facebook group. I have 9 people on my phone who I'm a member of the Linwood Outdoor Rink Facebook group on flooding volunteers. Our main volunteer got a call or a text from a supervisor, said you're breaking the open meeting law. I had no idea there was more than, I had no idea how many supervisors were in that group. I will talk to that person tomorrow who started that group, and I will get names. So if somebody says I broke the open meeting law, I didn't even know anybody was in that group who was a supervisor other than me. So I will get that taken care of tomorrow.
Is that a different, is that just for the rink?
Yep.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
You know what? There's 8, 9 volunteers. It got sent out this weekend. Who's available to do it? And I want to say 7 or 9 said, sure. Couple said no. I have no idea who any of them are. All I have is phone numbers. So I will get names to the numbers. So there is no open meeting law issues. I will get that tomorrow. I'd like to set up with Supervisor Ludke in the next couple weeks on how to get in the building and how to use the new equipment. So once I get this group of volunteers, the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 volunteers, I'd like to get everybody together on how to use the new equipment in the building. Because right now I think there's 4 keys out there which don't do much other than get you in the gate. So I'll set that up. I'll keep in touch with you when everything's available to show people how to use it. And I'll get a schedule and figure out when they can do that. So.
Yeah, it might feel too, just to have a probably at that next December one, even for us, just to have an access control. So that one would have to be under security and we could do a closed meeting. Because all that has been hooked up now, but it's still just getting it. Because part of that is getting individual access for the individual
Yep.
as well. So that's probably a way to time it just to cover
Okay.
training we can do, but as far as getting it all documented, yeah.
Security stuff.
Anything else?
When are you available to do interviews? I sent you an email yesterday.
We'll get to that here in just a second.
Okay. Then I'm done.
John?
So this is a good time of the year to clean up some of the brush and stuff that's been sitting in the ditches that, you know, from those wind storms. Alyssa printed out the budget stuff, so I went through. We budgeted $15,000 for ditch mowing / brush cleaning. We spent, I think it was $4,600 or $4,800 we've been invoiced for, so there's a little less than 11 grand left in that budget. If the board's okay with it, what I'd like to do is have Stimmick Farms, which is the one that got the bid for doing the ditch mowing, and have them go out and start cleaning up the brush and stuff that's still laying in the ditch. There's a lot of limbs. There's a lot of top of trees that are still laying within the right of way. Jack and I were out there cleaning up 2 trees that fell down up by Ryan Lake Drive and Sunrise. And so I'm and I don't think we need a motion because we've already approved the contract and stuff, but I just wanted the board to know that I'm gonna go ahead, and unless you guys vehemently oppose, I'm gonna have him start this next week and get some of the ditch cleaned up. Otherwise, the next time that he can get to the ditches to do anything is gonna be July. They can't get in and do that stuff when the wildlife is in the ditches. So kind of expect to see some activity there.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right. I will be out of town. Probably starting Friday. I will not be back in town until someplace around the first part of the year. I'll be stopping in periodically. I will not be able to make any meetings while I'm gone. Where I'm going to be, there is very little Wi-Fi and very little cell phone coverage. So I'm going to be gone. Also, I will not be taking my seat on this board next year. I'm moving out of the township. Just want you to know that I'm gonna be leaving so you can start making plans. I suspect you're gonna have a special election. I'm sorry. This wasn't confirmed up until yesterday at about 1 o'clock after I got done talking to a couple attorneys. It's things I gotta take care of other than here. I've got a couple obligations I have to take here in the township. And I shall be doing that. I'll be out of the township more than in it for about several months after that. My house is going up for sale first thing in the spring as soon as I get all the damage fixed. Which I'm really surprised at. What'd I say? How many would it be to 80 some $1,000 damage on the house? And I just finally got State Farm to finally agree to fix everything. So I appreciate everybody's support. That's it. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Sorry to see you leave, Mike. You've spent a lot of years here helping out the citizens and it's
Do what you gotta
greatly
do.
appreciated.
Can I use Supervisor Olson for,
Yes, sir, you
interviews?
sure can.
okay, John, I'll send, let's get some dates together.
All right, that was good. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moving second discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. We are adjourned at 7:40.